Everything you know about happiness is wrong. You've been sold this lie that the good body, a lot of money, the good house, the marriage, fucking materialistic goods. You've been told all of this stuff will make you happy, and yet you're still uncertain. If you want this video to help you, you need a level of humility to realize you aren't like some happiness master. So your views when you watch this video will be challenged. Straight away, your Jeffrey brain will want to disagree and you won't want to listen to what I say because you've already been making progress in what you think will make you happy. More and more young people are realizing like the path that's been set out for them. Good grades, good job, good house, all that fucking usual stuff. You're realizing that doesn't make someone happy. The good body. That's almost a surprise, isn't it? Why is Hamza saying a good body wouldn't make you happy when Hamza preaches like how good the physique is for you? I have the good body, bro. I have it. Do I look happy right now? I kind of do now, but like, trust me when I say, you look at people with good bodies and you literally say to yourself, don't be a little bitch and like lie. You say to yourself, if I had a body like that, I would be happy all the time. If I had a body like that, I'd be showing it off all the time, but it's all relative. Because when you build a body like that, you then want the next step and the next step and the next step, and you're still deeply fucking insecure. You want to know the truth, the secret of happiness? It's stuff that you have never been taught about. They don't teach you it in school. They don't teach you it in the workplace. Maybe the one place you've ever heard of the things I'm about to tell you is from my own channel. It's presence, gratitude, kindness, social connection. Those are such weird things. Because we think happiness stems from like the external world. We think that, okay, if we buy that car, I would be more happy. If I get that job, I would be more happy. If I make more money, I would be more happy. Time and time again, those statements are proved incorrect. How can you be happy if most of your thoughts are negative? That's what we need to overcome. When you mind wander, when your mind wanders, when you are in a state of like daydreaming, when you're overthinking about something, it's generally on the negative side. Even if it feels ambitious, it's kind of like a negative thought when most of the thoughts we have are negative, just straight out. But the thoughts that seem a little bit positive with hope, that you want to attract that girl and you want to, get that job and, you're focused on like getting good grades and everything. But those thoughts are still showing that you lack something. Those thoughts are showing that like you have this condition to happiness. Why would you push happiness for the future? Like it's not something that like, it's not worth pushing it for the future when you can have it right now. It's better to be like, to generally be happy every year than it is to say, nope, I will withhold on happiness up until I get the car. Because apart from a few key things that like are requirements to happiness, everyone, including you, has the capability to turn on their happiness just like that. You have the ability right now to turn on your happiness just like this. Like literally, I know it sounds weird as fuck, but you can literally just decide to be happy right here, right now, but you're currently deciding not to. You literally just decide because it's just an emotion. You can control your emotions. That's literally fucking basics, like common sense. You can decide to be aggressive, angry, like I'm speaking right now. Or you can decide to become way more peaceful, kind, compassionate. You can decide to become way more sad. Or you can decide to become more happy. It's all under your control if you hit the baseline requirements, which you might not actually. So we need to answer that question. How can you be happy if your thoughts are mostly negative? You can't. That's why we need to change that first. We need to change that the other part of that phrase, mostly negative thoughts. We want you to think less, to be more present and more in the flow of things, and we want your thoughts to then become more positive. So there's like two major things that we can do. Let's talk of like the meta view of thinking itself. This is like weird as fuck advice, but just trust me, if you can like follow along to what I'm saying, like it honestly will change your life. Think of like, okay, thoughts is just a concept by itself. And even when your thoughts are negative or positive, you generally are less happy than if you were in a flow state. Does that make sense? Even when you're thinking something nice, even when you're happy about something that you've just thought, you would be happier if you were just present. So presence in the real world is better than any kind of thoughts that you can have. Presence is like being here right now instead of thinking about the past or the future. It's very, very important for you to find activities which put you into a flow state. And a flow state is kind of like what athletes call being in the zone. It's a moment when you're totally present. You're so focused. There's no distractions. There are no thoughts in your mind. If you routinely do like a couple of activities, you'll begin to realize which ones they are. For me, it's always been talking, especially like talking to the camera like this. I have zero thoughts in my mind. It's not even like a special thing for me anymore. I'm just used to it. This is why like it almost feels like therapy for me to come on and talk on these videos. There's no thoughts in my mind. The only sounds that I hear is like my own voice coming out of my lips. There's no thoughts in my mind right now. That means I'm in a flow state. That means I am present. And it's interesting. We want to be happy, but what the fuck even is happiness? Because I can say these words to you right now. I'm in a flow state, which means I must be happier than like if I was mindlessly daydreaming. But I might not look that happy. I'm saying these words right now, but I'm not like, hey, smiling and giggling, because happiness is just a fucking wishy-washy concept. This is why I made a video on this channel titled, Happiness is Not the Goal. Like, if you think your goal is to become happy, like, you know, the biggest thing you want is just, I just want to be happy. That's a stupid as fuck goal, and you're seriously sacrificing a lot of your future. Happiness shouldn't be your goal. I think fulfillment should be your goal. I think fulfillment of good quality, like, goals, missions, purposes, that should be your goal. Happiness is, it's too wishy-washy. As you can see, you can watch a dumbass video like this and like suddenly be happier. So it shows you like it's too fickle. Why would you like think that your life's goal is to achieve something that is so fickle and temperamental that some dumbass on like some self-improvement, on his second self-improvement channel can teach you? Does that make sense? You need to get into more flow states in your life. There's certain activities that will put you into a flow state. Making love is usually like the top number one for most people. There was like studies done for this, and that was like way more presence inducing than every other activity. But then obviously you're not going to be fucking all the time, but there's some which you could do every single day that will put you into it. A lot of people say it's weightlifting. For me, like, I have fun during weightlifting, especially if there's people there, but not so much. For me, like, if I'm weightlifting, I'm still thinking, I'm still, you know, like a normal thing, unless if I'm doing some kind of like high intensity challenging, like my workouts are still challenging, but if you've been weightlifting for a while, you know that the challenge is kind of like weirdly accomplished, just whether or not you're strong enough for it. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's like it's a lot less of a mental battle, weightlifting, especially in lower rep ranges. In higher rep ranges, yeah, 100%. It's like you need to focus, you need to like be forcing words in your mind and say like, yes, I can do it, you're strong, come on, like get those reps. We want to be thinking less. So when you meditate, it makes you more aware and vigilant of your thoughts. If right now what's happening, if you don't consistently meditate, what will happen is that you will dive deep into your thoughts without realizing that you're thinking. You will be thinking, but that will be just your perception of consciousness is, okay, I'm like, you're not even thinking. Like, here's the thought. If you are inside of this thought, you are most likely going to be unhappy. Happiness comes when here is the thought and you are out here looking at the thought, you're observing the thought. Does that make sense? So most people, average people think. Average people get thoughts and they're like, oh, that bitch from high school, they are here, they're stuck here. Straight away, what should I eat for dinner? Oh, fuck, like I'm broken. Oh, that TV show, they are here. One huge level ahead is when you get out of this, you get these thoughts and you look at them knowing that, yeah, that's a thought. Do you see? It's almost like a meta view, a meta analysis of the thing that's happening inside of your mind. Now you've almost got like a split mind where one part of your mind is thinking, but the other part is observing that thought. And even though this starts to sound kind of complicated, it's like this is where more of your happiness will start to stem, because now you're realizing all those negative thoughts that you were getting here, that you were so hateful of that person, you were thinking about those times that you were embarrassed, that you were humiliated, that you were hurt. You're thinking all those negative thoughts. Well, now you realize, wait, like those are thoughts. You, because you have a huge fucking ego, you are sure that you're here right now. You are sure that you are here, that you've mastered meditation. So I can move on to the next part of this video because I meditate for 5 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, Hamza. It's probably not good enough. You've been doing the opposite of if meditation is like good for your thoughts, good for your brain. You've been doing anti-meditation full time for 20 years. 20 minutes of meditation a day for the last 1 year, bro, it's not that significant. Like, awesome progress. I'm proud of you. But have some respect for yourself. Like, you've got a long way to go. And don't just suddenly think, yep, I'm there, so let's move on to the next part, bro. You've got a huge amount to progress here. Have some humility. There is a lot you can progress here. You aren't at that ultimate level where you can, like, look at the thoughts with complete deviation, complete separation from those thoughts. I'm not even close. Maybe I'm 2% of the way there, honestly. Maybe I'm 2% of the way of like being like a good observer of my thoughts. And I've been meditating for 2 years. Once you're more aware of your thoughts and you're more vigilant that you are actually thinking, they have a lot less control over you. And then that's when you can start to induce more positive thinking, almost like a meta response to the original thought. The original thought is a memory of something bad that happened, or maybe it's a foresight of something bad that could happen. So generally, negative thoughts are broken down into just something bad happened, I'm remembering it, or something bad could happen, I'm foreseeing it. Depression, anxiety. That's where everyone's thoughts, most people's thoughts are. When you start to meditate, you start looking at that from a different angle and you're like, oh, I'm having a depressive thought. I was just reminiscing about something sad. The next level is countering that original thought with something more positive. Just that original challenge that, oh yeah, I'm not the thought. I'm seeing the thought right now. I am not the thought. My brain just thinks weird. That phrase just there. It's when you start to almost joke around with your own brain. You're gonna seem crazy as fuck, and this is like weird advice you've probably never heard of. When you make jokes in your own brain and you make meta jokes about your brain, you make meta jokes about, like, you think jokes about thinking. That's when you start, even like, it'll make you seem crazy, but that's when you actually start enjoying life a lot more. You just burst out laughing. You're like, yeah, I am a pretty fucking funny guy. And then suddenly you're like, oh yeah, like, I'm on my side. If you've went through mental health problems, like, that will be a very profound experience, like a profound realization when you kind of realize this. I'm like, yeah, like, I'm on my own side. My brain's just like a little bit corrupted from like modern media and everything and stimulation, but like, I want the best for me, and like, I want to make myself laugh. So it's the counter to that original thought. Most of our thoughts are negative. Most of our automatic thought. That dumbass fucking loud ass dog, bro. Shut the fuck up. So most of our, oh, my tea, hang on. Let me take my teeth out. We interrupt this message for a tea break. Oh. Hang it. I'm such a shit YouTuber, bro. Most of our thoughts are negative. And when you become more aware that you're actually thinking, you stop that negative streak way earlier than what you would naturally stop it at. The old you, before he started meditating, before he became way more aware of his thoughts, before he was watching videos like this where his thoughts were challenged, you would almost through the entire day, through your entire week, month, life, you would be automatically thinking. When you begin to challenge those thoughts, when you begin to be aware that you're thinking, instead of that same negative thought, negative thoughts, because there's different ones throughout the day, instead of them lasting the entire day, now they start to have intervals, like there's cuts in them, because maybe you've been thinking like negative shit for the last 20 minutes, but then you get that random thing of I was thinking negatively. There's a cut, there's a little bit of a break, and that break, it's so small. Like in the entire day you're awake for 16 hours. It might literally be a couple of minutes that you have a break from those negative thoughts when you start meditating. And yet people say meditation changes their lives because those couple of minutes break of the cycle of thoughts is so significant, and it feels so good when you just suddenly realize like all those thoughts that you usually get, you're like, oh yeah, like they're thoughts and they're quite negative. Like, okay, you just kind of are aware of them. You've got like a quick 30 second, 20 second, bro, maybe 10 seconds and you're back to thinking again. But it feels so fucking good. And imagine that, like the purpose of meditation, the best part of meditation, the point that we're trying to get to is when those breaks just become bigger and bigger and bigger till eventually like we almost always have like a break from our thoughts. We're so fast, like we become aware that we're thinking so quickly that we bring it back to the present moment. Maybe you're in the present moment for like seconds per day, maybe less, but it goes up and up and up and up. So that just this concept of meditation, of mindfulness, of presence, just is to become aware of your thoughts and to kind of think less. That's a very simplified way, and it's like not technically correct. And if there's any like proper meditation gurus or something, they'll criticize me for it. But it's like for the normies, it's an easy way. Meditation will help you think less because you'll become more aware that you're thinking, and then you'll be able to like have more periods of presence. So that will help you become more happy, because those moments when you've just shut down the negative thought streak, well, you're now not thinking negative shit. But there's something way better that you can do. And that is, I'm not going to call it positive thinking, because positive thinking has like too much like negativity these days. It's kind of weird. It's kind of ironic. Positive thinking is like, it's not seen as like a good thing these days. It's a beautiful thing. It's a literally 10 out of 10 practice, honestly. And if you're someone who like, you just want to blindly follow my advice, bro, it's a 10 out of 10 practice. A couple of those books on positive thinking, you get them, you follow them, and just pretend like, yeah, those are the gospel. It will significantly improve your life. It's just the modern day, the fucking hip self-improvement YouTubers and all this, like, it's positive thinking is actually bad. Shut the fuck up, bro. It's the same, the type of people, like, the wishy-washy, like, goal setting is bad. Those type of motherfuckers, they'll be telling you positive thinking is bad. Shut the fuck up. It's an incredibly like absolutely vital thing if you want to reach any level of success. But I won't call it positive thinking, even though that's the branch of what we're about to discuss. It's gratitude, and kindness helps as well. I'll explain how kindness influences. By the way, this is all like I've pretty much just stolen all this from the Science of Wellbeing course. It's like just Google the Science of Wellbeing. The top link will be this like very famous course by this like university, and it's all for free. You can just watch it. Like I learned this 2 years ago. I literally just recommended it to my brother just a few days ago, and he was asking me like, how do you actually like get into mental health? How do you learn? Just put your trust in that one free course. It's literally just the Science of Wellbeing on Google, and you'll find it. So now we've discussed reducing the volume, the amount of thoughts that you have, and being able to become more present, that when you are being like, negative and you're thinking about something that depresses you or makes you anxious, it's all quite negative, hostile thoughts. We're able to put a break in that when we're more present. And the best way to be more present is just consistent meditation. Don't like overthink it. Meditation sounds so fucking weird. Don't overthink it. Literally just go onto the app store on your phone, search meditation, download 1 or 2 or 3 of the top apps, and literally just start following what the app says. Don't even overthink it. Don't have a single thought about it. Your brain doesn't understand it. So it's like any thoughts that you have about it, that it doesn't work, or, I should do it like this. It's like, you're not experienced, so shut the fuck up. Just get one of those apps. Just follow what it says, and just never stop meditating ever again. After a couple of weeks, you'll never want to stop anyway, but like just have that idea. Okay, I'm probably going to meditate every single day for the rest of my life. Boom. Nice and easy. Thoughts of gratitude are incredibly powerful. So gratitude is what I prefer to talk about instead of happiness. Happiness is way more clickbait, and it's like you clicked on this because it was happiness, and it's like you're a bit of a fucking spurg. Happiness is for simpletons. Gratitude is more like the scientific version. It's like the more real version. Happiness, like, because what the fuck is happiness, bro? Happiness is different for every type of person. It's like, is it laughter? Is it joy? Is it happiness? Is it love? Like, what the fuck is it, bro? It's too weird. It's too much of a wishy-washy general trend. So gratitude is something that is like very specific, and it's something that we have complete control over. Gratitude is kind of like a positive view of seeing the best of something. Grateful. How can I be grateful for X, for this camera, for this bathrobe, for my mother, for this house, for my addiction, my former addiction to video games? How can I be grateful for my former addiction to video games? When you start to ask yourself these questions, your brain changes. It is so vital that you ask yourself these questions. Because think about it, you've probably never done that in your life. How can I be grateful for that guy who bullied me and fucking annihilated my self-esteem? You've never asked yourself that question before. How could you be grateful for the person who bullied you and annihilated your self-esteem? How could you be grateful that you got abused as a child? When you ask yourself these kinds of questions, you will experience the most growth of your entire life, but it's challenging. Your ego will blind you right now and say, nope, this is stupid because you can't be grateful and they're bad people. But if you don't want the growth, then click away. But you're here because you do. You challenge those initial thoughts, those initial beliefs about a certain experience, thing, or object or person. Because it's been so easy for us. Let's say you got... I wouldn't really say I ever got like fully bullied, but let's just say, okay, I got bullied, right? And in my mind, it was always a negative. It was always, I got bullied. Those guys are so horrible and they ruined my life. And, I would have never asked myself, okay, what about it was positive? When you ask yourself that positive reframed question, a question on gratitude, that's when you grow from that negative experience, when you can be grateful for something because it's honestly kind of easy to be grateful for something good that happened. How can I be grateful of, I don't know, college? And, the college got me my dream career. Well, you don't have to ask that question because it's basic, it's common sense. Yeah, I'm grateful for it because it got me my best job. And like, it's not hard. Ask yourself those hard questions. How can I be grateful for getting... Bro, you fill in the fucking sentence for me. Ask yourself right now, how can I be grateful for something bad? Like, picture that bad thing. Picture that thing that you've held resentment. Picture that thing that you've held so much hatred for, that you haven't forgiven that person for, and ask yourself, how can I be grateful that that person hurt me like this? And your brain will start to generate answers, and you'll be like, oh, like, they are an asshole. The person who hurt you is an asshole, but like, that's what led you to self-improvement. That's what got you into therapy. That's what introduced you into mental health. That's what got you into a new, beautiful, loving, healthy relationship. I've been down bad. I've been addicted to drugs. I've lived like... If you were able to watch me when I was in like certain years of my life, like you would literally think these words to yourself, like, fuck, people actually live like this. Like, fuck, people actually like do this shit here. Like it's such a dark environment, like some things that I've done. And I'm so grateful for it. There's a picture right now that I've just used as a thumbnail on the main channel. It's not on a new video, but if you scroll down, you might see it. The video is... It's kind of a newish video, actually. The video's title is like, how to stop relapsing. And I think the video is just a few weeks old from the date of where I'm going to upload this video. And it was just kind of like, the YouTube thumbnail or something, the default recommended one of my face. And just recently I changed the thumbnail to a picture of me in like... a very like drug-filled environment. You can't see the rest of like the environment next to me, but it's just like the small picture. If you want to go and see it, it's like you might just kind of think like when I looked at the picture just recently, I was like, fuck, like it actually is such like a crackheady environment that I was in. And And I'm so grateful that I experienced that. I am so grateful that I was addicted to drugs. Honestly, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I used to wake up and I don't give a fuck what anyone says about like you can't be addicted to weed. Fuck off. Yes, you can be addicted to weed. I was. I'm so grateful that I was addicted to weed. I'm so grateful that I gained 20 pounds of fat in my last year of university. Felt like I ruined my physique and like lost all my confidence, used to cry. I'm so grateful for those experiences because I would not be here today if it wasn't. If I had that was like a massive dip in my life. If I had like a monotone, stable life for the last few years, I wouldn't have had the story to tell you. I wouldn't have had such like a fucking self-improvement journey that was so inspiring for you to try and follow some of the footsteps that I've left behind. It's with gratitude that you think about those negative thoughts and those anxious thoughts and you start to question them. So remember, we said, okay, that's the original thought. With some presence, with some mindfulness, some awareness, being vigilant that you're thinking all the time. You start to deviate. Now you're looking at the thought there. But then the next step, after you've become aware of that thought, is to then ask yourself, like, how can I be grateful for it? Because most of these thoughts are negative. You're thinking about some sad, bad shit that happened to you when you were younger. You're thinking about some anxious, scary things that might happen to you in the future. It's just sadness, regret, or anxiousness and fear. With any type of negative thought you get, you ask yourself why. You ask yourself, how can I be grateful for it? Then your brain starts to just become way more positive. And that thing that's plagued your mind for so long loses most of its power because eventually you build up the habit that thing that you think about so often, that you're a loser, you're a failure, that this happened. Eventually it's like you get faster and faster at feeling grateful at that thought. You constantly think like, I'm a loser, I'm behind in life. How can I be grateful for that thought? Well, I'm actually so grateful for that thought because I bet a lot of Jeffreys my age don't get that thought. That thought is actually my driving force to not feel like a loser anymore. So I'm sure that this thought, which feels so negative, is actually going to carry me to have a better life in the future. That's like my burning. I don't want to feel like shit. Like I feel like a loser, but it's like it's actually kind of like a good thing that I feel like that because there's people who are bigger losers than me and they don't have that feeling. So I'm grateful for it. And then that thought comes in again, but it's like, yeah, I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it. And eventually the feeling of being like a loser, just straight away, like you use it productively for the first time of your life. You realize like that's a fucking sick thought to have. That's a 10 out of 10 life-changing thought to constantly keep getting the thought in your mind that yes, I'm a loser. Because the real losers of the world don't get that thought. So be grateful for it. That's all like mindset, thought-based things, right? Presence and gratitude. 2 daily practices that is just so important. You can do these throughout your day, but they do get power leveled if you give them specific, direct time, like focused time to level them up. 20 minutes in the morning, do some meditation, do some mindful breathing. Just download any of the apps. And I like Medito. You can search it, Medito, Medito. I like that one. It's literally for free. I don't have any kind of like profit coming from any of this type of like mental health advice or anything. Download the app, any of the meditation apps, and just follow them. Literally, like don't overthink it. For gratitude, do that mental practice, but then also take some time to just spend more time feeling grateful. Spend more time asking yourself questions of gratitude. Literally just ask yourself, what am I grateful for? And just write it down. Get a piece of paper. Like, when was the last time you picked up a piece of paper and a pen? Like, oh, but I don't need to anymore because I'm not in school. Shut the fuck up, bro. Oh, can I do it on my phone? Shut the fuck up. Come on. Can I do it on my computer? Shut the fuck up. Get a piece of paper and a pen. Come on, don't be a dumbass. Get a piece of paper and a pen. Write it down on paper. Stick it up on your fucking wall. Get obsessed. Like, you're obsessed with fucking video games. You're obsessed with self-improvement videos. How about you get obsessed with your own happiness? How about you get obsessed with your own growth? Write that shit down. What am I grateful for? Write about your family, your friends. Write about the objects in front of you, the tools that you use for your craft. Write about the experiences, positive experiences. Write about the negative, sad, disgusting, painful experiences. And do that like every day. Your brain will really start to switch. Those are 2 major ways to be happy, and there's a few more. Kindness shows time and time again that it's probably the most effective way that you can navigate your life is to be kind and generous to others. There's been studies, you can go and find them online, but there's been studies that show that if you are given money, or if you make money, just if you have money and you spend that money on yourself, you don't really get that much of a happiness boost from it. You get like a very small, insignificant boost when you go and get yourself like a coffee or some shit, right? But when you spend that same money, it doesn't even have to be a lot, it can be $5. When you spend it on someone else, you get a huge happiness increase. I want you to visualize this right now. I want you to really visualize this. You're going to go to work, you're going to go to the school or whatever the fuck you're going to do with this other people, and you've preemptively bought like a very small gift. Like, let's just say like you went to Starbucks and bought a coffee for your friend, right? You've bought something like a coffee for someone in your class, for a friend in your gym, for someone in your workplace. Straight away, it's like your brain starts to like cringe a little bit. It's a little bit uncomfortable. It's like, it's a bit forced, and it's a bit just fucking weird, right? At least for me, when I think about it. That shows that like this is the action that will get you some fucking gains. Do you know when you get that sense of discomfort, that sense of like, like it's a bit cringe, just like that, well, bro, go and do that thing. If you're thinking about some task of self-improvement and you get a level of like, that's going to be cringe, it's going to be a bit uncomfortable, bro, that's the fucking growth right there. You're about to like embark something like that's going to change your life. If you have a sense of like, it's cringe, like if you're really close with your family, you might not feel this, but if you're like not close with your family, not so much. And I say to you right now, visualize right now, stopping watching this video, running downstairs, going to your mum, your dad, whoever's sat there, telling them that you love them and that you're going to hug them. And tell them that you love them and hug them. You're going to get that same sense of like, well, that's a bit cringe, it's a bit awkward, but it's like, that would literally be like a core memory. That would literally be like a life-altering moment, even though it seems so insignificant. You could do it in the next 10 seconds. Fuck, I'm gonna go do it. Ami? That was a bit cringe. I just hugged my mum and she's like, what? Why? I'm proper sweaty from recording these videos as well. Okay. So being kind, especially random acts of kindness, are very, very significant in terms of your happiness boost. Why am I out of breath from running up the stairs? I gotta get on that cardio, bro. And the research that I've seen says that there isn't actually that much of a big difference between you spending just a couple of dollars for this compared to a lot. So, picture it like this way. A shallow amount of a random act of because random act of kindness is like, what could you do? Now, be a kind person and like, say your please and thanks, have manners. But one of the easiest ways to be kind is kind of monetary. It's kind of like related to money, kind of like buying someone something. It's the easiest, fastest way. And obviously we don't want you to go broke doing this. We want you to like be able to do it in the most cost effective way. So we're getting into like very practical autistic advice here. The research I saw kind of concludes that you would get the biggest happiness boost if you gave a shallow act of kindness to a higher number of people than a very significant act of kindness to just like one person. So if you spent hundreds on someone, as a gift or whatever, it wouldn't be as good as if you spent $2, $1, $3, $4 on 100 people. Because really think about that. This one person's gonna be really, really happy. But like 100 people would be pretty happy. Like that's going to connect you more, and that's really the last thing that we can talk about. The final, there's really only like 4 major things that really increase someone's happiness. There's a few more actually. I should briefly discuss like your happiness, your positive mood, your well-being is very, very, very highly tied to your physical health as well. So this is all about mental health, but your physical health very much relates to your mental health. So for example, people who sleep less, people who are sleep deprived, which is you, Shut the fuck up. It literally is you. It's me. It's pretty much almost 100% of people are sleep deprived. So don't you think that you're like part of the group that, oh, Hamza's talking about sleep, but my sleep's okay. Shut the fuck up. Have some humility. It's pretty, like, bro, I'm sleep deprived. I spend fucking hundreds of pounds on fucking sleep trackers. I look at my data every single day. I'm telling you right now that I'm still sleep deprived. It's like, it's a very hard thing to not be sleep deprived these days. Very, very difficult. Have some humility. You're not as happy as you could be, plus all the fucking other ill health effects, simply because you don't sleep long enough. And sleep isn't good enough. Things like sleep, things like diet, the things you eat literally make a difference, right? There's literally, I keep talking about all these studies without like citing them to you, so you don't have to believe me if you don't want to, but there's literally studies that show your intelligence literally drops when you eat a Western diet. It's like the food that you eat, I know that's not really related to happiness, but the food that you eat has such a huge impact. Don't believe these fitness influencers who tell you that there's no difference, that you can eat whatever you want. Bullshit. All that matters is the calories. Shut the fuck up. The macaroni, shut the fuck up. It's not how much you eat. That's what all these little fucking dickheads want you to believe. How much you eat. Calories in, calories. Shut the fuck up. It is what you eat. It is literally, are you eating junk? Are you eating fast food, but it's only 400 calories and it's got protein? Shut the fuck up. You're eating processed garbage. It comes loaded in the truck and it's fucking frozen. Oh, but it's a 400 calories. Shut the fuck up, bro. Honestly, people are eating fast food and calling it like fitness. Holy shit. People are eating fast food and calling it fitness. They're eating fucking ice cream, and if it's your macros, shut the fuck up. What you eat is so much more important than how much you eat. That's all these little simpleton fitness YouTubers, all they'll tell you is about calories in, calories out, because it gets them more fucking views. They don't care about your health. They don't care about your happiness. Do you? Because if you do, what you eat makes a huge difference. How much you sleep and how you sleep makes a huge difference. The final thing we can talk about is social connection. My friend, I have not seen this study personally, but I would like, it seems real to me, but my friend said that he's looked at like some studies and everything, and he saw that the number one thing for a person's emotional well-being, and also the number one thing that leads people to have less regret on their deathbed, is social connection. Social connection, how connected you are to society, but literally just like how many friends you have, how many good quality friends you have, and how connected you are to the people in your social like community. This is like the real fucking, I won't say the word because I'm pretty sure you get like demonetized, but like everything that's been happening for the last 2 years, it's like, yeah, you know, the disease here, but it's like, bro, the real disease, the real pandemic is loneliness. It always has been. And it gets worse and worse and worse. Chances are right now that you don't actually have that good of a group of friends. And if you do have like a group of friends, like, they might not be that good. It's taken me years to be able to like attract good people into my life. And every time, you know, previously that I had friends, I was so excited and they're amazing, they're sick people and everything. It's only when you develop more and you kind of look back and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like, those people weren't friends. Like, we were taking drugs together, bro. Come on. At 5 a.m. when all the drugs ran out, that's when everyone would go back home. That's not friendship. Those people on your fucking Discord server, bro, they're not friends. You play video games together, that is not friendship. That's fucking little boys with addictions. The more that you can be socially connected now with a good group of friends, with maybe a partner, a boyfriend, or a girlfriend, with your family. And then a big one I found, a very, very big one, is how connected, connected is a weird word, but like how connected you are to your neighbors, the community, the random people around your area. Because what a huge, my camera's gonna die, but a huge difference for me. I was in Manchester. If you're in UK, you'll know. I was in Manchester, which is just kind of like a city, but it's quite like a grungy, kind of like sketty fucking, it's not like a poor city, but like some parts are. But it's quite like it's like a PvP enables city, right? It's kind of like anxiety induced, at least for me. And one of the things I used to notice so much that used to sadden me when I used to live there was that no one would smile at you. No one would hold, you know, there's so many people walking past. So everyone would just be like eyes forward, just, you know, going to where they're going. No one would look at you, bro. No one would smile. No one would like acknowledge your existence. It's like, that is so fucking weird. I want you to think right now. how weird our lives are right now. I don't believe that there's any animals that spend this much time next to animals of a different tribe that have not been classified as friend or foe. Does that make sense? The majority of people that you come across are neutral. You haven't discovered whether they are friend or foe. That is absolutely a core requirement for any kind of fucking animals, like survival instinct, is to know everyone around them is either friend or foe. Will this person help you? Will this person fight you? You must know that. In the modern day, we don't. You put yourself into vulnerable positions. When you go to the gym, you can literally easily be killed, easily be hurt. And, you know, as popular as you can think you are, the truth is, like, in the gym, there's 20 people, 30, 40, 50 people. Maybe a couple of them are your friend. Maybe there's one who's a foe because you don't like, unlikely, but you know what I mean. But 30 people in there, 40 people in there, they're neutral. And they stay neutral during your entire workout. They stay neutral during your entire week, your month. Like, everyone stays neutral these days. That fucks our brain. That is such... Think about how weird that is in, like, the evolutionary, like, psychology type of shit. Like, that is not supposed to happen. When you are in a city, even a town, the amount of people that you come across that you can't classify as friend or foe is so high. I remember that it would be significant for me when someone would look at my eyes and smile. It would be significant. Like, I still remember a few times that happened because it wouldn't happen often. I mean, if I was like a hot girl, maybe a little bit more, but even then it's like, it wouldn't be like the friend type of way. It'd be like the weirdly like sex pest or some shit. And then I moved back here, so I moved from like a massive city in the UK to, it's still kind of like a city, but it's kind of like a town. It's a lot more friendly. It's a lot more like I'm in a neighborhood instead of like a city. Like, and I'm not close to the town center, which is probably a big part. And when I go for a walk here, every single person, honestly, every single person meets my eye and smiles. The majority, I'd say about 99% of people I walk past are just old couples, just old people, just walking their dogs and stuff. We live in like quite like an area for like parents with children and everything. So it's usually just 40 to 50 to 60 year olds just walking past, big smile, you're right, something like that. It's such a simple, small thing, but I can't overestimate how important that's made me feel safe, connected, and happy. That's what I wish for you. Now, we can't just suddenly change your city, but look out for those moments and try and cultivate more of them. Try and see, honestly, it's like a lot of it's just going outside. Your mum was right all this time. Like, you spend all day indoors. You're not going to feel socially connected with people through the fucking pixels. Go outside more. Working out outside was a big one for me. I spent almost an entire year going outside to exercise during the COVID lockdown. I would go to a park and use gymnastic rings in this like bit where people would walk past and I would play music and stuff. And I must have spoke to over 100 people. Just small conversations, maybe even like more than that, because if you just kind of account like a head nod or you're right as one, like it would have been hundreds of times where I like spoke to people going past and it's like, I felt like I was part of the community. That's such a strong, beautiful experience. And you know as a young man how important, every time you think about Adonis and everything, like you think about the tribe. Like, we don't have tribes anymore. That's why you've been so attracted to the shit I do here, because it's like you're realizing, wait, like there's an online tribe. It's like, you are so innately attracted to that. You're innately attracted to like a group of people like-minded, to fit in, to feel like you can connect with others. It's difficult, but it's not impossible. It's up to you to go outside and to be like that friendly person who holds the eye contact and like even says like good morning to someone who's not even kind of looking towards you, because a lot of people are just mindless. A lot of people are just like in their day-to-day lives. If you're the guy who kind of says good morning to someone who's not even looking towards you, you'll see them snap out of their like mindless state and they'll be like, good morning, and then you'll see them like slunk back into it. But you've done like a good deed for the day by doing that. And finally, very, very quickly, I won't go into much detail, but like some final ways of improving your happiness is things like nature, sunlight, walking, deep breaths, especially with very slow exhales. So I could do like whole videos on those, but they're kind of like, just fucking go outside, honestly. Like, you want to improve your happiness, get away from screens, meditate, gratitude journaling, go outside and like just say you're right to people. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. Mwah.